All right, well, it is now time to find out where Tom is in the Ozarks today.
That's right. He joins us from the Resource Center. Tom, what's going on?
What's going on is you guys are talking about sleet and stuff. We drove all the way over here. Why? Because we got some important messages for you. And remember to have your phone ready because we're going to have a QR code at the end if you want to get in touch with this guy right here, Bruce Porter. How you doing, Bruce?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. This subject that you're about to cover, okay, that's going to touch a lot of people's lives.
Well, I mean, we're going to have some fun with it because, you know, we're all kind of in the same boat. I've had some bad habits with money in the past. I think everybody can say that.
Sure.
So we want to know the obvious things, and we want to try to communicate that so maybe you don't make the same mistakes we did.
The for sure signs that you're not handling money very well.
That's right.
Okay, let's start.
So if you can't balance a budget, that's kind of basic. But when you're balancing a budget, you got money coming in, you got money going out. So you should have as much coming in as you got going out, bare minimum.
That's generally the way, well, you see, total revenues do not equal total spending, you're in trouble.
That's right. You've got to pay yourself. You got to make allowances. You've got to have things that are trackable. There will be unexpected things that pop up.
Of course.
And you have to always be prepared.
But that's
for
still
that.
one of the things that you know, kind of plan for, that X factor that comes into everyone's lives.
That's right. And savings should be a budget item. You should be putting money in your savings account just on a regular basis.
Right,
now,
right.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
You borrow money often. So, you know, if you find yourself getting payday loans, stop. That's a bad thing to get into. It's a bad habit to get. Most people that I've seen that have dealt with that, they get in trouble. Credit cards can get people in trouble. If they're used correctly, they're a good tool.
True.
But don't abuse them and don't abuse small loans. And the worst thing that I see is people borrowing money from friends and or family. So if you're a friend that they always go to, never loan money to a friend. Give money to a friend and don't expect it back.
It's a good way to lose a friend.
Absolutely.
And
it
you
is.
can't keep knocking on the same door constantly.
That's right.
That just lowers you. But you know, the credit cards, people don't pay attention to interest rates. And I know
right.
sometimes they'll say, here's your minimum payment. Well, that $2,000 you spent, if you pay that minimum payment, now becomes a $4,000, a $6,000.
That's
You know,
right.
you're just stretching that out to way more than you paid.
That's right. It compounds. Don't use a credit card unless you have a plan for repaying it. Don't spend money on a credit card unless you know how you're going to pay that back in a timely fashion. So if you know you're going to pay it back in 6 months, pre-calculate your expense. Know how much you're going to spend for
Divide
that
it,
item,
yeah.
and then you decide, is it worth it or not?
Exactly.
Now,
All right.
you lend money before paying your own bills. So if you're in a habit of lending money to people that maybe are in need, but you don't have the money to pay your own bills, I think it's a problem. You don't have a long-term plan. You pay more in the long run by doing that because you end up paying penalties and fees while that accrues, you know. And so you just give all your money away to your buddy and he hadn't paid you back yet. And now you're in a pinch.
But you said something interesting too. You're not lending money, you're giving money. Do not expect to get it back. So if that's the case, especially don't lend money before you pay bills. Because
Right.
there's a chance that money will never come back to you.
And there's not a thing wrong with saying, look, buddy, I'm sorry, Tom, I just don't have it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you say no, you know, you may not need any more of a reason than I don't want to.
That's exactly
Because you
right.
have to, you know, part of paying yourself first is paying attention, you know, to your financial status first.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So don't lend money before paying your own bills. All right. Now, we all know a guy, right?
Yeah.
If you're $30 trillion in debt, maybe it's an exaggeration. I don't think we have any viewers that I'm aware of that owe that.
Yeah.
But we all know somebody that's that way. If you owe that much money, you need to have a plan. You need to be paying it back. So if you have, I think the point is, if you have uncontrollable debt, you need to get a plan for how you're going to handle that. You don't want to make the same mistakes over and over and over, expecting a different result, because what's that the definition of?
Insanity.
Insanity.
Yeah, there's
You
the
need to
QR
plan
code
ahead.
right there, and you can help people with planning for
Absolutely.
things like that.
882-1800, there's QR code. Call us for an appointment. We can sit down and visit. And if you have some of these bad habits and we're trying to change, you just let us know and we'll help you.
All right, Bruce. Thanks again.
Good to see you.
Words of wisdom from the Resource Center. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Tom. We got to wrap up those bad habits,
I
I tell
know.
you.